can you just kind of weigh in on this push by the governor, this push by lawmakers to change the way the Supreme Court is selected?
What was the particular plan that was voted on?
It was the federal model.
Federal model.
So the governor would choose, and then the state senate would have to
Confirm.
confirm his choice.
Well, my position has been made very clear over the last few years. You're aware that I've written, I think, 2 different op-ed pieces for papers published across the state. I've given interviews to you and some others on that subject. My position has not changed, and the position of my colleagues has not changed. We believe that our present system that's been in effect for almost 60 years is superior to the other models that are being proposed. The present system came about because of political shenanigans in the late 1950s, and the people of Kansas, I think about 60% of those people voting said we want to change our constitution and change the way these justices are selected. They spoke, we've had it for 60 years, I think it's working well.
Do you find the federal model less onerous, however, than the direct partisan elections? Because there's also legislation to do direct partisan elections of judges.
I do not agree whatsoever with direct election of appellate jurists. And it's not just my belief, but the former Chief Justice of Texas, Wallace Jefferson, who was himself a product of that system, he stood for 2, perhaps 3 statewide elections as a justice, and then later Chief Justice on the Texas Supreme Court. And he has come out publicly and said that is a poor model. And he, in fact, endorses the merit selection system like we have in Kansas.
Chances don't, the vote looks kind of tricky on getting the 2/3 tomorrow, but there's still ways to change the makeup of the Supreme Court nominating commission. Is that something that you have any interest in, or do you like it about the way it is now?
I think our system has worked fine for a long time. I don't see any reason to be changing the Supreme Court nominating commission. I'm not aware of all the particular proposals that might have been floated across the street in the State House, but I like our system the way it is.
You talked about how Kansans selected this however many years ago, the current system in the vote. One of the criticisms that we heard in the House has been that we haven't had the public weigh in since then. Some of the arguments are that our current system doesn't give the public enough voice in this system. Do you think our current system, has enough, input from Joe Kansan or Janet Kansan on choosing the Supreme Court justices?
I'll go directly to the bottom line on that, and that is every 6 years, the voters of Kansas get an opportunity to go into the voting booth and say, do they want to keep Lawton Nuss as a justice or do they not? And they have that same right on all of my colleagues, and they've had that right for many years. I don't know how much more democratic you can get in a process that puts my future in the hands of the voter directly in the ballot box or in the voting booth. It's not republicanism or a republic where people do things through their representatives. This is grassroots democracy.
Is that why you're doing more getting out around the state, or is that kind of informal campaigning for retention?
Well,
When you're at places and you fill an auditorium?
not Allen Fieldhouse.
Well, yeah, but
Well, if you check your records, you'll see that my colleagues and I have a history of going around the state and speaking on a number of topics. I spoke a few months ago at the Marine Corps birthday at Topeka High School here in Topeka. I spoke at the Dole Center a year ago on the same basic subject. I've spoken to the Johnson County Bar Association. I've spoken to the Hutchinson Chamber of Commerce. These have all come up in the last year or so, and they're not designed to fulfill any purpose other than to get out and let people know, just like the courts trips to Garden City and to Hayes, to Salina, to Wichita, to Pittsburgh State. They have a Supreme Court, and this is what we look like. This is what we do.
it kind of humanizes you.
Humanize, exactly.
I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's been about a year now. So let me ask you, what's it like working with the newest Justice Stiegel? What has he added to the court, or how has he kind of changed the dynamics among you guys?
Justice Stiegel comes to court arguments prepared. He's done his homework. He comes to our case conference prepared. He fully contributes to our conference. So I've been very pleased to see that.